All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. Rich Eisen Show basketball podcast. We out chat doing it. Brockman, Adam, and TJ. What's up, boys?
What's the dilly?
What's happening, guys? You having a good week so far?
Yeah.
What? I mean, I've had better weeks. If you want me to be honest with you.
I do want to be honest. We've had better weeks.
I'm taking a lot of shrapnel because my team lost. But you know what? I'm built for this. I want the smoke. I welcome the smoke. And if you're coming at me, don't, as DMX said, don't come at me with no BS. Use caution. That's all I'm saying, because I'll snap back at you.
I enjoy aggressive TJ.
Well, it's also just hilarious that, Adam can't talk. His Bears just stunk this year. Just talking football for a second. And both mine and TJ's teams, we
made the playoffs.
We made the playoffs. I got absolutely destroyed in the first round, and your team was getting destroyed and then kind of imploded on their own at the end.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. This is hoops. I don't want to talk football.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever.
Yeah, screw football.
Yeah,
I'd rather talk about my Jordans that I'm wearing today, these Johnny Kilroys. You know what I'm saying? Like, boom. Jumpman, hook us up is all I'm saying.
Look at those. How do they become a
If we can get a Jordan sponsorship, this podcast will be worth it.
I quit. I don't know what I do with my. What more is there to accomplish if we get a Jordan sponsorship?
I'd probably just quit everything at that point. Like I'd reached the pinnacle. The peak has happened. I'm climbed up the top of the mountain, and now I can just rest. But but I've had people ask me before, why is my camera shot on the show always so far back?
So we can see your shoes.
Like, why didn't you have a close up? I'm like, one, because I have a face made for radio. That's the first thing. And two, I'm hoping somebody at Nike will see the fact that every single day I'm in here 20 days, 20 J's, and we're in a different pair every day. Maybe they could hook us up. It hasn't happened yet.
Gotta be the shoes.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Right now, I'm blinded by Adam's sweatshirt. I mean, I can't even.
Hey, come on! This is
I can't even see what's going on.
This looks good on me. Come on! It compliments my big head.
Look how bright it is on the screen. I mean,
I'm TV ready, baby. Shining bright for television right now.
Shine bright like a diamond.
All right, shining bright like diamonds in the NBA right now. We're about halfway through the season, which means All-Stars coming up soon. A lot of talk about the ballot going on right now, so I thought that'd be a fun thing for us to do today. Let's fill out our NBA All-Star bracket,
yes.
All-Star ballot, because I think you could make a case for a lot of guys that should be All-Stars this year. The season has been kind of weird in the COVID injury. Some guys have missed some time, so that's going to affect the MVP race right now is really going to get interesting because Steph hit a little bit of a slump. Kevin Durant is now out for 4 to 6 weeks with an MCL. And I think we're going to see Giannis, Joker. We're going to get a lot of that talk really building here in the next month as we head through the All-Star break. And I think the MVP race is going to get really, really interesting. We'll put a pin in that for later on next month. But let's talk All-Star, guys. And let's just run down the ballot. Let's go to NBA.com and let's just fill out our ballot. Let's start in the West and have a discussion. Do you like how they do it with the front court guard kind of eliminating the center spot? Do you guys like this, Adam?
I do like it because the center position over the years has essentially become pretty much an obsolete type of position where there's so many players who play multiple positions where it's not like a concrete position anymore. People are just more versatile when they play now. So I think it's a good idea to just have three front court players.
Yeah, lump it into a front court type deal. TJ, you agree with that?
Well, I do and I don't, because here's the deal.
I know you love big man.
I'm a big man fan. And also, if you're starting a center every game, there's no game that goes, what team starts,
teams have small
swingmen and a
lineup.
point?
Yeah, well, teams have small lineups, teams have big lineups, I see your point.
But, but again, Adam is right. The game has changed a little bit, so the center position isn't what it used to be. But yeah, I'm okay with this, because if you're good enough, you're going to get the votes anyway to play, no matter what your position is. In theory.
Yeah.
In theory.
In theory. I mean, this is one of those deals where you rely so much on fan voting.
Yeah, that's
it's this and Major League Baseball kind of rely the most on fan voting. It doesn't really matter.
Let me interrupt you real quick, Brockman. What do you guys think about the fan voting?
I think it's stupid.
I agree, because right now I'm looking at the votes, and I see that Andrew Wiggins has more votes than Rudy Gobert to be an all-star starter.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, if they had the dedicated center spot, that probably wouldn't be the case. So there's one knock against it. Like if you had your center spot, then Rudy Gobert would be getting the votes that he deserves.
But just the fact that Wiggins has more votes than him is absurd. Gobert's having one of the best seasons statistically ever for a big man. I don't care that he's just a center. It's amazing the season he's having. And also Klay Thompson is right now, he's ahead of Westbrook, Booker, Lillard. It's crazy. Like Klay Thompson's barely played and he's in the game. He's not in the game, but he's ahead in the votes right now.
Yeah, being ahead of Booker, I think, is crazy, especially after.
It's a popularity contest.
Yeah, that's kind of my point.
Like
when you rely so much on the fan voting, it becomes a popularity contest. Where some of these guys who maybe aren't as good, or you make a case, are up there and will be starters. Whereas maybe if you have the fan vote count only 25% of what goes into naming them an all-star starter. But we're still doing the draft, right? So it really doesn't matter. It's just like who has the top votes, they become the captains.
Yeah, I think they're still doing it that way, which I enjoy that way too. It's like we've all played pickup games.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun. You get your two captains, you let them pick sides. I love that part about it.
Yeah, I think it was one of the coolest wrinkles that the league has kind of come up with in recent years.
And then they always try to make a big deal about the last guy pick like it's a slight. It's not a slight. It's not like we're playing at the YMCA. You're still one of the best in the world. It's just, out of those 12.
Right, you get stuck with that. Remember when you're a kid, you're like the guy who gets picked last, obviously he's the worst athlete in your class.
Not the
you
case.
You definitely don't want him on your kid.
He doesn't want to be playing basketball to begin with.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be out there. It's just
out.
like participation type deal in gym class or whatever. But like this is, you're one of the top 20 players in the league.
Yeah, it just so happened you got picked last in this. So
yeah, it's pretty funny. Okay, let's pick our front court. Let's go to the West. Who's the first player you would pick for the front court in the West? TJ, you start.
The first player I'm picking?
Yeah, the first player you're picking as your front court guy in the West.
All right. See, I'm that guy who's always torn between, the popularity contest or who's playing the best. I think we're going to go who's playing the best, right? So, if I'm getting the first pick in the West, I mean, it's kind of like the Tom Brady thing, right? Like, as long as he's alive,
you just put him in there.
I'm just going to put him in there. So I'll take LeBron, sure.
Yeah, and look, the team record, how the Lakers are doing specifically, it is kind of whatever, but you can't argue with 28.8 points, 6.5 assists, and 7.5 rebounds.
At what, 37, 38 years old?
Right, Adam?
Unbelievable. Level of consistency is unreal.
Yeah. And it's just, so you got to, I think we're all in agreement that LeBron deserves to be in there. All right, who's your second pick, Adam?
You mean TJ?
No, I'm going to you.
Okay.
I started with TJ, now I'm going to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, stay with us.
I'm going with the Joker.
Yeah.
Great pick.
He's having an unbelievable season
Unbelievable
right now.
season. Unbelievable.
He's averaging 25 points a game, 14 rebounds, 7 assists.
It's crazy.
He is by far, to me, the best big man passer of all time.
Ooh,
and I don't think there's a comparison. I was looking at the numbers. He's consistently averaged 7 to 8 assists the last 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
You had Arvydas Sabonis, you've had Bill Walton, you've had Chris Webber. Those guys were great passers also, but they never even averaged close to the number of assists that Jokic is averaging over the last 4 or 5 years. And so he's really a special talent, and he's fun to watch.
Yeah, he's really fun to watch. And it's kind of too bad, like, Denver and this team isn't a bigger national story, because what he's been doing is just so remarkable and so impressive. TJ, you talk about the big guy that can do it all in today's NBA and the way the game is played today. That international flavor, the rebounding, the passing, he shoots threes, he's leading fast breaks.
He's got cool brothers that stick up for him.
Well, quote unquote cool brothers.
Yeah, cool.
He's just remarkable. I mean, we're seeing a guy that could win his second straight MVP too.
Yeah, I mean, he does it all. He's, he kind of, and I think this kind of theory of soft European players has been kind of brushed away, but if it hasn't, it definitely is now. Like the dude, he just, there's nothing soft about Joker in terms of his on-court play and his ability, and he's tough, and his skill set is so unique. Like, again, like I'm always one who's hesitant to go, this person's the best ever at something, just because that's really a tough discussion. But yeah, his skill set, the way he passes the ball, everything he brings to the table, it's very unique. And there haven't been. I'm not going to say there's never been a player like him. There's been very few players. Like Nikola Jokic.
And I loved what he did with Morris earlier in the year when he shoved him from behind. I mean, it looks like a dirty play it was, but also what Morris did to Jokic was extremely dirty. And the Morris twins have been extremely dirty their entire careers. So it was awesome to see finally somebody pay them back.
That's really to say. First of all, to say you like that is weird to me because the dude hasn't played basketball since that happened.
Right.
To say the Morris brothers play dirty, like dirty is undercutting people. Dirty is hitting people below the belt. Like physical play is one thing. They call people dirty like the Morrises. I mean.
The shot he took on Jokic, he went into his ribs. It was clearly a dirty play.
But like I said,
that specific play wasn't dirty.
Specific play.
The brothers. One of them played for the Celtics. Loved when he was on our team, Marcus. They take it to the edge.
Yeah, they're the type who you hate that play against, but you like it if they're on the team.
They're kind of like habitual line steppers. They go right up there and they kind of kick dirt on the line and kind of step over a little bit, and they kind of flirt with they flirt with dirty and aggressive, and so I'm not gonna just call them dirty players, but it was a dirty play that he did on Jokic. Jokic's play back was also dirty, but I certainly understand why he did it. It is too bad that Markieff hasn't played kind of since then for many reasons. But, to say you like it, that's for you. I liked it in the moment, and then the more context that comes around it, you're like, I wish that was a bad look. And Jokic has a number of plays like this in his past. Remember, he got thrown out of a playoff game for kind of a similar situation of retaliation.
And that's why I'm saying that theory of the soft European player, I think it was gone, but it's definitely gone now with
for
him.
A guy like him, yeah.
And Luka is another, European guy who he'll definitely come at your throat. So So Brockman, you're up, man.
Well, I'm up. I think Jokic and LeBron are the two unanimous front court picks, right? So who is our third guy in the front court? And this goes, I don't know. Is Anthony Davis? Has he done enough? Has he played enough?
I don't think he's played enough
to warrant that. No. Has Paul George played enough, TJ?
Well, Paul George would have been until he went out, right? Which, of course, Paul George is out now. He may miss the rest of the season. Yeah. He was averaging 25, seven rebounds, 6 dimes. Paul George was balling. He's been out, so I think he's played 26 games. Might not be enough to get him. It doesn't matter now because he's not going to be available even if he gets voted in. So.
Yeah. This is one thing, deserving or not deserving, but I think
he definitely All-Star worthy until the injury for sure.
Yeah, All-Star worthy for sure. You mentioned Rudy Gobert, Adam having one of his best seasons, 16-15 right now, which is just absolutely crazy. You can see he was back in the lineup recently and what a difference he makes for that Utah team, which is having a great season. But I think I'm going to go with Karl Anthony Towns. Not a player I normally love his style of play, but he's really doing it now. 25-9 right now. And this Timberwolves team is really fun to watch. And they've been a really surprising team. We didn't include them on our surprising teams earlier in the year, but they are a really fun watch with him and Anthony Edwards. And I think Towns has done enough to warrant my vote for the third front court spot in the West.
All right, bet.
What do you guys think?
I like that pick. I mean, they've definitely been a surprise team. They have that good core with Edwards and Towns. Towns is a beast. I personally am picking Gobert just because I think records do matter for All-Star games. If you're on a team that has a really good record, I think that should mean something. And the Jazz are playing really well. Gobert is leading the league right now in rebounds and field goal percentage, and he's second in blocks. And so just for what he's doing overall with Utah and the record they have, I have him over Cat. But they're both playing really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with Towns or Gobert in that spot. TJ.
Well, I think the only thing is with Towns, though, right? You're going to get, obviously, Gobert's getting more boards, but the fact of the matter is with Towns, you get a guy who can give you 25 to 30 a night.
Right.
You're not going to get that from Gobert, right? True. So that's just one thing that might sway you one way or the other. But if you have Joker and you have LeBron in your front court, then, whoever you put there is not going to be a bad choice, either of the two.
Totally agree. And I think when you look at the front court, maybe not as many great options. The two, LeBron and Joker, were a lock, and then you can kind of make a case for 2 or 3 other guys there in the front court. Yeah. However,
but also, Chris, not to interrupt, but like, let's just say if you had, in a perfect world, if everyone was healthy this year, you'd have Kawhi Leonard, who would be right there.
Totally,
you'd have Paul, so you know,
absolutely,
a lot of injuries that are keeping
You'd have a few
up.
more guys, Anthony Davis, and the 2 Clippers players, George and Kawhi. It would be a little bit tougher decision, Adam. But when you look at the backcourt in the West, my God, I don't even want to make this decision. Like, just look at the top 8 guys are just crazy.
It's
and
nuts.
Dame Lillard hasn't even played that much.
Yeah, no, it's
and when you throw in Anthony Edwards and Chris Paul and Devin Booker, you got legit 10 guys in the backcourt that could be your West starters. How do you pick 2? What are your 2? Let's just go one at a time. Who would you pick first, Adam?
Okay, first we have to go with Steph Curry. They have the second best record.
I'm not going to argue with you.
Like, how could you not go with Steph Curry?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's led that team without Clay until recently, and without Wiseman to the second best record in the league. He's shooting, I'm looking at the numbers right now, 91% free throws, 26 points a game, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. He makes the game so much easier for everybody to play because he opens the floor.
Right.
And so all these other players are getting these open shots from him, and it just creates so much more open space. So Steph, just a once-in-a-generation type player, having an incredible season, still totally in his prime, and he's my number 1 guy right now.
Number 1 guy. Can't even argue. But you could also kind of make a case, TJ, that maybe there are other guys having more impressive seasons. Not better, just more impressive
than Steph.
Because what our expectations were and how they've exceeded them.
Well, I think also we got to remember, I think 2 years ago, people thought that Steph had reached his peak.
That's fair.
I think that we realize now that is not the case. So Steph is still incredible. I think personally, with all due respect to all the rest of the guards, it's Steph and Ja for me. Like, if we're taking into consideration this is something that the fans want to see, you want excitement, and if you want to reward someone for really playing, I know a few weeks ago we talked about Ja had missed a few games, but Ja deserves that, man. He deserves to get on that national stage so that the average fan, the casual fan, can fully see what this guy can do. And man, I'm hoping, I said this last year, because the dunk contest is like really weird now. The guys you want in it aren't being in it. And I said last year that imagine if you got a dunk contest where you had Zion and Ja, and we'll put even Anthony Simmons in there because he won last year.
Right.
So if you had guys like that in there, but obviously Zion is not going to participate. But if you could get John Morant, think about this, guys. He could own All-Star Weekend. Oh. If he entered the dunk contest and won that and then put on the show in the All-Star game.
He could do the skills competition
also. He could do the skills competition as well.
3.
Yeah.
I'm afraid he's not going to enter any of those for every reason, but he definitely needs to. If John Morant wants to take that next step to being a household name, to being someone that people who are casual fans know, he's got to do one of these Saturday night type skills challenges, whether it be the dunk or whether it be, the skills challenge, and he's got to ball out in the All-Star game. I think he's capable of doing that, and I'm hoping so because making stars, man, it's a beautiful thing to watch people become stars. And this could be the moment. This could be the last few weeks where the average person doesn't know who John Morant is.
Yeah, I would say this is maybe the last time in his life where like the average person is definitely the casual sports fan won't know him. He's got a very unique look, like the hair and the way he plays.
I'm always team locks, too. Like, if you got locks or your name is Jefferson, then I'm on your team regardless. Okay.
And we talked about last week, he's kind of the everyman. He's super skinny and not really athletic looking. Yeah. But then he goes out there and you see some of the stuff he does. It seems like once a week, he is putting up a highlight that goes crazy viral, is the top of SportsCenter's plays, for the week. And your jaw is dropping, and you got to pick it up off the ground. Like, was it Monday night he did the crazy 360 layup?
Yeah, against my Bulls.
Against the Bulls. Like, what was that?
I couldn't even hate.
It was you can't hate because it was amazing. And the week before, it was the 2 games in the Laker game where he blocked it off the backboard and his whole head's over the rim, and then he has an alley-oop. And he is becoming a superstar before our eyes, TJ, and you're so right about All-Star Weekend being this moment and this event where the casual hoops fan is paying attention. It's a lot like the Super Bowl, where all the eyes are on it because it's the only thing going on that day. And if you show up and show out, the world is going to know your name, and it's Ja Morant's moment. Having said that, my first vote is for Steph Curry.
Well, I think we already established that Steph was our first guy, right? At least I think the three of us, Adam and I did.
I'm going to vote for Steph Curry because, like you said, 2 years ago it seemed like he was on the fall. The cliff had come. The Max Kellerman Brady cliff had come for Steph Curry, and he's exceeded all our expectations. You know, sitting out and getting injured and sitting out the bubble and then coming back the way he did the last 2 years. He's back. The Warriors are back now that Clay's returned, and there's really no slowing them down. Was Ja your second pick, TJ? Was that your case for Ja?
Yeah, that was my case for
Okay.
Ja. I mean, look, obviously Luka is the other guy who you could put in there,
Yeah.
but Luka, I think he's had his moment. Like, we know Luka's good now, right? We know Luka's the man, but it's Ja's turn now, I feel like. And also, he's the type of guy who kids really love. Like you said, he's not overly imposing. It's like either you're the giant that people love or you like the Earl Boykins, Muggsy Bogues type that you love. He's a guy who's not physically imposing. And I think with his hair and his smile and the way he jumps, he's something that kids, once they... And by the way, like, it's different from when we were kids, right? Obviously, the information, the way these kids are able to see these players, everyone can see Ja Morant highlights. Back in the day, like, I heard about Clyde Drexler, but I'd have to wait till Sports Center late at night to see highlights.
Or the George Michael Sports Machine late at night.
So it's like, you know, it's more accessible. It's easier to get highlights and to see who these players are. But for kids who haven't seen him yet for whatever reason, because he is in Memphis, I feel like I said, he's user-friendly. And he's what the NBA needs. So I would love to see Ja Morant just take the next step.
Here's what I want to ask you, Adam. TJ's down with Ja Morant. I love Ja Morant too. But.
Ja, baby.
But is it possible we're somehow overlooking a guy averaging 28, 9, and 9? Sorry, 25, 9, and 9. Is it possible now we're taking Luka for granted?
I think it's got to that point where we have taken him for granted. I don't have him as a starter this year, but he is sensational.
Sensational.
I think he's missed a good amount of games, though. Let me check here.
No, go finish your point about him. I'll look on that. I only asked you that because it seems like we were waiting. Like, is he finally going to take a leap? Is he going to show the improvement, the commitment to fitness? And just kind of take this Magic team, you know, deep into the playoffs. They're 6 games over 500. They're the 5 seed.
You mean the Mavs?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Mavericks. They're 6 games over 500. They're the 5 seed. They're definitely going to be not in the play-in, right? Which is important in the West because it's usually deeper than the East.
And Chris, he's played 29 out of 44 games, to answer your question.
Luke has missed 15
That's
games.
a lot.
Yeah. That's a lot. He's missed a lot of games. So I guess if I'm gonna penalize Anthony Davis, I guess I need to penalize, Luka in this regard too.
Listen, Luka's only 22 years old. He's still a kid.
He's unbelievable.
It seems like he's been in the league forever, but he really hasn't. He doesn't have the team around him to really truly contend yet.
Right.
But he is absolutely going to be an MVP and a championship player. I think he will win eventually an NBA Finals MVP, a regular season MVP. And he will be one of the greatest players of all time. I think he's that good.
Also, you can just put it this way.
And
You could do a front court and put Luka in the front court and have, but he's listed as a backcourt player.
That's the thing. He's listed as a guard, even though he's, 6'7", 6'8", something like that. Yeah.
But he is a guard, so, whatever.
And so LeBron's a guard, too, and he's also playing center.
Well, no,
You know what I
LeBron's
mean?
always been a small forward, though. That's been his position.
But he's always, whatever team he's been on, he's been the primary ball handler.
Yeah, so he could have been a point. Well, except for when Kyrie. Well, now he was still kind of primary.
So we're all down with Ja, too? Are you down with Ja, Adam, or do you have someone else? Do you have Booker, Chris Paul?
Listen, I love Ja. I think he's a combination of Derrick Rose mixed with like a little bit of Westbrook and Steve Francis. He reminds me kind of a mix of all three of those guys.
That's good. I like that.
But I actually have Devin Booker because the Suns right now have the best record in the entire league. He's averaging 24, 5, and 4. I think Booker, throughout his career has been consistently underrated. I think finally people realized how good he was in last year's playoffs when he led that team to the finals. And this year, the Suns are playing spectacular. Chris Paul is playing great. And I just think that, obviously, Ja Morant's way more exciting than Booker. So the fans, it'd be better for the fans to see Ja. But in terms of just record and games played and just overall consistency, I have Booker as a starter.
You know what?
Okay.
Great points. We can't really refute any of them. And I also think when you're talking about kind of underlooked and underrated, I think Donovan Mitchell also fits that exact same
For sure.
exact same criteria. And for a Utah team that's right there in the 4th seed, knocking on the door of the 3 seed, Memphis has been super hot, so they kind of leap them. But 29 wins, Donovan Mitchell doing it every night, 25-5-5, super quiet on a team that doesn't get a lot of national run. So I think if you're going to vote for Booker, I'm totally cool voting for Donovan Mitchell, and I would also vote for Ja because I love him also. Like, the backcourt in the West is so stacked. We just made a case for 3 different guys, and they're totally valid. So fun. This is great. I love doing this. Let's go to the East. Front court East. TJ, your first pick is Joel Embiid. Who's your second pick?
All right, my second pick would be. Well, first of all,
Ben Simmons.
the big man Embiid, like, and I'll pound the table for Embiid always. What, he's on 8 straight games with 30+ points.
It's ridiculous.
He is, and there was a video that went out on Instagram that someone made, and it was a lot of shots of Jordan in the post, Kobe in the post, doing turnaround jumpers and some moves that Embiid has obviously studied and is putting into his repertoire. When you've got a 7'1", 275-pound man who has that type of skill set, the only problem with Embiid and the only issue with him ever is health. As long as he can stay healthy. If he's healthy, he is a problem. That being said, like, would he be my first pick? It would be because Durant's out, so I'm just gonna. Kevin's not gonna play in the All-Star game. 4 to 6 weeks
I think
out.
we can all kind of remove him.
All 3 of us would agree Durant would probably be our number 1 pick.
For sure.
But he's not there.
Absolutely.
So then it would probably be Giannis, because Giannis, I think, has now fallen into the category that Adam asked, are we putting Luka into this category?
That's what I was asking.
Giannis is definitely in this category of guys who now it's just like, if you don't put up 25 and 12, I'm looking like, what? Why'd you even show up tonight? So it would be Giannis for me or Embiid. If you're going to make me pick one, don't make me pick one. Just know that they both get a front court vote for me.
So is this a situation kind of like the West front court where it's Giannis and Embiid, and then we're making cases for the third guy?
Well, I think we have to, because we're eliminating KD, obviously, just because. And again, if Durant was healthy and playing, he would be all of our first, at worst, second pick.
Yeah, I think so too.
So I feel like then you got to look at, and I'm not sure if I speak for all of us, but I would assume that all 3 of us would probably have Giannis and Embiid in your front court. Maybe not.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm totally into Giannis and Embiid. What those guys have been doing this year, I think Giannis, you're right, is falling into that category where we're kind of taking him for granted.
He's so special, man. It's just like I see him put up numbers, and I'm like,
and he's only getting better. He's like 25. It's like, it's crazy. 29 points, 6 assists, 11 rebounds. He's just a phenomenal player. He's going to be one of the top 10 of all time, I think, when it's all said and done. And then you got Embiid, who is on an absolute tear right now. I know he's not played as many games, but he is active currently. The Sixers are just a different team when he's out there. So for me, those 2 are a lock in the front court. I'm just curious, Adam, if that's what you think, and then who's your third?
Yeah, it's absolutely those 2 leading the charge. Giannis, once-in-a-generation type talent. People forget how awesome he is on defense also. Just changes both sides of the ball.
Yeah, changes the game.
Embiid, a great defensive player as well. So, yeah, for sure those 2. Number 3 is it's tough.
Kind of tough. It's kind of tough in the East.
I mean, I'm looking. I know the Celtics haven't had a good year, but if you look at Tatum's numbers, he's averaging 25 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. So, I mean, you have Tatum, you have Jimmy Butler. Then you have like a wild card, like a Jared Allen, who's leading an upstart Cavs team.
Yeah.
So that third spot's really difficult.
Third spot's really difficult. I mean, I'm gonna pound the table for Jason Tatum here. He's asked to do more on a team who's had a bunch of the roster's really weird, and it's been a weird year, not really translating to a lot of wins. But individually, his stats have all improved over the previous years. Almost 26 a game, 4 assists, almost 9 rebounds, like you said. And for me, that rebounding number is up huge. He's had a lot of double-doubles this year. He's becoming more of a playmaker. He's learning to become more of a playmaker. Again, young guy, 23, 24 years old, still a young superstar. And if you look at everyone else in the backcourt in the East, who has the capability of putting up 50 on a given night? Jason Tatum can do it, has done it in the playoffs. If you need a bucket, he can get you a bucket from anywhere on the court. I think he's an all-star, and that's just, I am a Celtics fan, but I also really believe that.
Yeah, I'm in full agreement of that. I'd probably take Tatum as my third guy. Yeah.
TJ, third guy, Tatum, Jimmy Butler,
Listen,
Sabonis.
Chris Brockman, you hate this, but I'm gonna keep saying it.
Don't keep saying it.
I have to say
it's
it
not
because-
going to change history, though.
But it tells people how I feel about him, right?
You love him.
The fact that the Sixers had the third pick in that draft, the fact that they moved up and took Markelle Fultz, when by all draft expectations they should have had Jason Tatum, and the fact that I don't get Jason Tatum, and the fact that I've got to watch Jason Tatum's whole career, Adam, and see how great he is and know that he should have been a Sixer just bothers me. And it's always going to bother me. So, yeah, I've got no problem. I'm a Jason Tatum fan. I'm a Duke fan, so of course I like Jason Tatum. And he should be on the Sixers, and he's not. And that's going. And I said it when they made the deal. It's going to set this. The Sixers can't recover from this. It's going to be 15 years of Jason Tatum as an all-star and as one of the faces and one of the best players in the NBA. And we didn't have him.
And if you have that core of Embiid and Tatum is your core, that team is always in championship contention.
Think about that, Adam. Now you have Tatum, Embiid, and Simmons on the same team.
That's a
It
shame.
changes
Yeah,
everything.
Simmons, the pressure would be way less on Simmons. He could be more of a distributor.
Yes. But instead, what they did, and I still won't understand this, I was in from Monaco to El Segundo. I was in Monaco when that trade happened, and I remember looking at my phone going, like, why would we switch? Like, we already have Simmons at point guard, who we already knew wasn't a shooter, right? Everyone knew that already. Other 4 or 5 tools he was 5 stars at, but he wasn't a shooter. Now you're going to bring in Markelle Fultz, who is, again, not a shooter, not a true point guard. I could not understand why they made that move. Until this day, I won't understand. And till my dying days, I will never understand why the Sixers made that trade. It's insane to me. Jason Tatum should be a Sixer. Brockman hates it when I say it, but I'm never going to stop saying it.
I hate it because it's never going to happen. All right, let's move to the backcourt in the East. So, Adam, you're going to vote for both Bulls.
Obviously.
And so
We can just move on past Adam
we can
on this
move
one.
past you, even though Zach LaVine's going to be out for a little bit while longer. So you're down with DeMar DeRozan, obviously having a great year. We've talked about the Bulls a lot on this podcast. Congratulations to you. TJ, East backcourt. Kind of like the West. Mm-hmm. Man, the NBA is so fun. There's so many good players.
So many good players.
You know,
where do you go here? Where do you go here for the East backcourt?
Well, the thing that surprises me most is we've got Chicago Bulls superfan over here, Adam Chudwin, who's yet to offer me anything. I have DeMar DeRozan. I have Zach LaVine on our fantasy league. And the super fan here, like, maybe he realizes that I'm not going to give them up, but I'm a little hurt that he hasn't at least made an offer. But DeRozan, now I don't know LaVine's timetable on coming back. I don't know if he's even going to be back for the All-Star game. But if you had that Chicago backcourt, I don't think anyone would laugh at you.
No,
but also Trae Young is up in there.
Yeah,
Harden's up in there.
I really like what Trae's doing. I know Harden's averaging 23, 10, and 8, but Trae Young for this Hawks team, he's so fun.
Yeah.
He's
well, he wasn't fun for me last year during the playoffs. It wasn't fun at all.
It was not
watching
fun.
Trae Young.
But 28, 9, and 4 for a guy who's 150 pounds,
right?
Like maybe 6 feet tall,
soaking wet.
Like, gosh, he's such a fun player. I mean, I don't think LaMelo's there yet. I want to see more scoring. I want to see that average up 22, 23 points a game. But what LaMelo does, 19, 8, and 7, versatility.
He definitely warrants a spot on the team, LaMelo, for sure.
You think so?
As an all-star, one of the 12? Yeah. I mean, if we're going to go back and we're talking about you want to grow the game, bring in casual fans, have it exciting, then yeah, LaMelo, you want LaMelo somewhere on that court.
Exactly, just like Ja
I think
for
you're
the
right.
West, you want
I think
LaMelo
you're right.
on the East. I think those two guys are the two most fun up-and-coming young players to watch right now.
Doesn't mean I think he should be a starter, but yeah.
Oh, no, I'm saying not a starter,
you
but
made-
I feel like he should be on that
You made
12-man.
the case to be on the team.
Yeah.
Adam, if you could only pick one Bulls player to be on the backcourt starting, is it
Why are you going to
DeRozan?
do that to him, Chris?
Is it
that's
DeRozan or is it Levine?
We got to go to Rosen just because of those back-to-back game-winning shots he made.
Yeah.
Just made my whole holiday great with my dad. I told you guys about that in a
It was a
previous
great
pod.
moment, too. Adam was watching the game with his pops over Christmas, which just anytime you can get that family time is great. And then they got to see DeRozan hit a game winner with him and his dad, and he put a video out, and it was dope to watch.
Yeah, I think I'm going DeRozan too. Just also, but being in a new spot, you got one of the big free agent signings, kind of a bargain now when you look at it.
He was the free agent signing of the season.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
think so. Comes into a new spot and just kind of taken over. New identity for this Bulls team. You guys have been such a great story for the first half of the year. 26, 5, and 5 is awesome. I think he's my first pick, and I'm going to go Trae Young with my second pick.
That's fair.
I think that's my East backcourt.
The only downside of Trey is the Hawks have not been good this year. Way under 500. Like,
They have been a little bit of a disappointment, especially the run that they went on in the playoffs last year. I'm down with that.
do records matter for you guys in terms of All-Star selection that much, or
I think a little bit.
You know, I think it comes down to whether or not you're into that player or not. I mean, I think that's how we're all going to look at it.
I
It's
think
like,
so.
because I can make an argument if I really want to say a guy on a bad team, you know, and you might go, well, his team stinks. So I think it just really depends on who you want to put in these
I guess
positions.
if records really matter, then like a guy like Darius Garland should be a starter.
Yeah,
'Cause,
right.
Like, the Cavs have been maybe the biggest surprise,
For sure.
especially in the East. They're not even going to play in the playing game. They might host the first round. And this kid, Colin Sexton, goes down. All the issues, and this guy comes in, and he's so exciting and so fun to watch, leading them night in, night out.
And the game is in Cleveland, so you want the hometown guy playing.
Exactly.
You definitely need it.
I
You're
think
right, Adam. You need a
He's definitely
cabin
going to be
there.
on the team.
He should be.
He's definitely going to be on the team, but you can make a case that he should be a starter too. Fred VanVleet, also no one's talking about.
Yeah.
He is killing it.
I believe Fred VanVleet is another guy who there should be a spot for him on this team. I don't know that he's a starter,
Right.
but Fred VanVleet should definitely be on this All-Star team. He's been crushing it.
Totally agree. So your two is who? You just went Bulls backcourt?
We're going.
But I'm making you choose. So you're choosing DeRozan and who if you can't have Levine?
I'll go DeRozan and Trey. Even though the record sucks for Atlanta, I mean, Trey's special to watch. He's having a career year, so I'll go DeRozan and Trey.
TJ?
You know, just because I want to, because I think we've been on the same page too much. So in the last few minutes, and it's bothering me. I don't like it when we're all on the same page.
I'm aware.
Give me Melo and Levine.
There you go. That's mixing it up.
Just mix it up a little
Let's
bit.
mix
Give
it
me
up.
Melo and
I
Levine.
agree. LaMelo should be on the team. I'm interested to see when the reserves are announced, if that's the case. All right, wrapping up. This is
But
really
I'm sorry,
fun.
Chris. DeRozan's got 2.9 million votes, so the people have spoken. So
Yeah, DeRozan is sick.
DeRozan's sick, yeah.
DeRozan's sick. All right, well, finishing up All-Star Weekend coming up next month. What's your guys' favorite event from All-Star Weekend?
We got to go the dunk contest.
Still your favorite?
It's still my favorite. To me, like, I enjoy the 3-point shootout for sure, and the skills competition's cool also, but the dunk competition for me brings out the most excitement. I know, like, it's gotten to a point where almost every single dunk has been done.
Seems like it.
It almost feels like that.
Seems like it.
But I think that there will be players in the future that will come up with new dunks that we've never seen, because I'll watch like clips on like Instagram or YouTube of some guys that aren't even in the NBA, and they're doing dunks that I've never seen before in the NBA dunk contest.
have you ever seen that Jordan Kilgannon?
Oh, he's
dude?
incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. The dunks like this guy does.
Yeah, some of these guys that aren't even in the NBA are making these incredible dunks. I think that if certain NBA players study these guys, they can learn some of these moves from them. And so I think the dunk contest for me is still the best. And I think going forward, it can get even better, even though it feels like it's kind of like gone downhill a little.
All right, maybe a better question is, which event from All-Star Weekend would you most like to participate in, TJ?
Oh, the dunk contest.
Still the dunk contest? I mean,
Would I want to participate?
I guess
in?
for me, just being a shooter, I'd always want to win the three-point contest.
Now, can I dunk right now? No, but that's not what your question was. So.
Could you ever dunk?
Yeah, buddy.
Really?
Yeah.
On a 10-foot rim?
I'm 6'3".
I don't know. That doesn't mean anything.
Oh, I'm 6'3" and African American, bro. Like,
That means something.
I wasn't always 260. I was
That's a great point.
I was about 210 at one point.
I could be a 6'3" Caucasian and I would still not be able to dunk.
I dunked at volleyball once in high school. That was the peak of my athletic ability, and it was downhill since. Downhill completely since.
In my high school, and we're going to wrap this up, we had the main basketball court, and then there was like a stage area that also had a basketball court.
And that's usually like an 8-9 foot rim.
No, but you could. They also had 2 hoops attached to the wall, so kids would run and jump off the wall.
Yeah, I think every gym in the world had those. Yeah. By the way, there was a park in the Oakland section of Pittsburgh called Dan Marino Park, and Dan Marino Park had 8-foot. They had 10-foot rims.
That's the best.
Then they had 8-foot rims, and we would just go down and literally just dunk on. You'd have to stand there. And
just take it.
See if you could stop it, and we would just go down there and just dunk on each other on these 8-foot rims at Dan Marino. Shout out!
All right, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Rich Eisen Show podcast this week. Talking about our All-Stars, breaking down who we think should be starters for the East and West. What say you? Leave it in the comments if we missed someone. Make a case for your favorite player. TJ and Adam, great job, guys. We'll see you next week.
Later.